Let's have a look at the Outlook screen. Starting with the very top of the Outlook screen, you have a rather large panel that runs the full length of the Outlook screen. This large panel is called the ribbon. The ribbon can be minimized by accident or otherwise. If you double-click one of these tabs on the ribbon, for example Home, you'll effectively minimize the ribbon, which means the ribbon disappears from view. If you double-click Home again, you'll bring the ribbon back. So you can minimize the ribbon just by double-clicking any one of these tabs and bring it back by double-clicking again. Now let's have a look at the left-hand side of your screen. This panel that runs down the left-hand side of your screen is known as the Navigation Pane, and it's extremely important because it enables you to navigate around Outlook effectively. What I'm seeing at the moment are my mail folders in Outlook. Now if you can't see your Navigation Pane, it may be because it's been minimized or it's been turned off. For example, if I was to click this little shutter button, I will actually minimize the Navigation Pane, and it disappears from view, much like minimizing the ribbon. If I now hit this shutter button, I'll expand the Navigation Pane. So you can minimize and expand the Navigation Pane just by using this button here. Another way to control the Navigation Pane is to click the View tab in the ribbon. And in the Layout group, you have a button called Navigation Pane. And using this button, I can also minimize the Navigation Pane, or using this button, I can bring it back to normal. If you can't see a Navigation Pane, it may be that at some point in time, somebody has clicked the Navigation Pane button and turned it off. If I turn it off, it completely disappears from view. So I'll go back to Navigation Pane and I'll choose Normal. The other thing with the Navigation Pane is towards the bottom, you have a series of options. By clicking each option, you narrow your focus to certain parts of Outlook. For example, if I click Calendar, all I see is the calendar stuff in Outlook. And if I click Contacts, all I see is the contacts in Outlook. One of the recommendations I'd make is to change your view from being narrowed to any of these particular areas to being available to see all folders in the Navigation Pane. For example, at the bottom of the Navigation Pane is a yellow button called Folders List. Notice the shortcut key is also Control 6. If I click the Folders List button, I see all the folders in Outlook, not just the mail folders. For example, I can see the mail folders inbox, sent items, drafts and deleted items, but I can also see my calendars, my contacts, my notes and my tasks. So one recommendation I'd make is that you view the Folders List view so that you can see all your folders in Outlook and not just certain folders. The other recommendation I'd make is to reduce the height of this particular panel. By placing your mouse on this border here, you can drag down and reduce the height of this panel. You still have access to those buttons, but they don't take up so much space. If I was to hit this Configure Buttons option, I can actually choose to show more buttons, or I can go into Navigation Pane Options. If I go into Navigation Pane Options, I can choose what buttons I do and don't see at the bottom of my Navigation Pane. For example, I might turn off Shortcuts and go OK. And now the Shortcuts button has disappeared. If I hit the Configure Buttons option again and go into Navigation Pane Options again, I can choose what I do and don't want to see. I would actually choose to see all options, so I'm going to tick all the options here and click OK. So now I have access to the journal, I have access to the folders list, to the notes, to the tasks, to the contacts, to the calendar and to the mail side of Outlook. But I prefer to stay in Folders List where I can see all the folders in my Navigation Pane.